gives us more time it gives us a few days to spend on us. I think if you're typically playing every 3 days, you get back at 5 a.m. and then you obviously can't practice the next day. So we would be preparing for a game probably tomorrow. And so you would shift all focus towards where now we're focused on us, but also taking the lessons from last game and then start applying them to how it relates to Oklahoma. But yeah, we needed this week of practice, even though our guys are they're busy outside of the court stuff. But we needed this to be able to really put a lot of teeth into fixing a few things that need to be fixed.
In Arkansas, the Wake Forest team, and also Iowa, were all games were kind of built like 13, 15, 16 point lead, and lost those. Like, it's just what does this team need to do to maybe step on one of the roads and not what you come in?
Yeah, the focus part, it's tough because sometimes it's a foul. I think it was 36-21 was kind of a pivotal play against Arkansas, and we had another one of those. There's 5 of us, there's one of them, and somehow the ball just squirts to them. Trey Donaldson fouls. Trey had just hit a 3, and the complexion of the first half probably would have looked a lot different if that loose ball would have went in a different direction. We have a tendency to usually let them go with 2 fouls. We wanted to get them out just to regroup, and then we ended up putting them back in. But I don't have a great answer. Sometimes it's, I think even when we made our run late against Arkansas, I felt like the shots they took were the same shots. The shots they were missing Dublin were the same shots they made to go on the run. They weren't going in, and part of it was just because of our intensity level, or our sense of desperation. I felt like it kicked in, and we played the greater urgency, and that probably impacted their shots. But we have to stay focused longer. We have to continue to fight when we have a lead with the same, level of urgency.
Exactly. Coach, Roddy is kind of someone that even early in the season you're kind of relying on in those late game situations, and then even against Arkansas, you have the back row pass to him. Is he someone that you really trust in a lot of those situations? And what does that say about his poise?
We trust Roddy a lot of it. He's a good player. He's a smart player. It's unfortunate because we didn't execute that perfectly, but we executed it well enough that the defender falling down just sticks a fingertip out and gets a piece of it, and that's the difference in winning and losing. The layup, in golf terms, would have been just say, let's get in somebody's hands and then go make a play that would have been a safe play. We thought we had a beat on something based on previous information, and the timing wasn't perfect, the spacing wasn't perfect, but I do think that we trust those guys to make those types of plays time and time again.
With him too going to Big Ten play, we've kind of asked multiple times, but now it's becoming a little bit more real right around the corner. What do you think he'll add to the roster, having that Big Ten experience?
You know about Roddy?
Yeah.
He continues to prove he's shooting the ball well. We need him to rebound better. He's just a real sound, solid player, and like all of our high usage guys, we have to minimize our turnovers, especially from the guys that are in playmaking positions. And so, like most everyone on our team, he's got to cut his turnovers. He's got to continue shooting the ball well, continue being a real solid player for us. But he does a lot. And there's every game there's a different matchup, there's a different rhythm to the game, there's a different competitive advantage for us. And so some games we'll lean on him to create more, and some games we'll lean on him to explore space and cut and run the lanes more than others.
Yeah, I saw a stat the other day that you guys have allowed the most 10-0 runs in the Big Ten so far. I think 8 of them. What goes into that, and how can you kind of get those to stop a little bit? We obviously saw it when we start the second half against Arkansas.
The second half, you wish you don't fumble the layup out of bounds, and then there's a miscommunication with Damari and Danny, and that's the stuff that happens. I mean, as far as the burn all your timeouts every time they score 2 in a row, or every time you have a turnover. I think Arkansas called their timeout when we cut it to 16 from 18, and then we proceeded to go on probably a 14-2 run. I mean, I know at home the magic formula is the timeout, but we called a timeout in the middle of that run, and then the run continued. We have to play better basketball. We can't turn it over. We can't throw the pick sixes that lead to easy baskets, and those are energizing plays. So, obviously. The pace we play at, the style we play, we're susceptible to runs, but also we're capable of stretching leads and coming back from deficits as well. So there's a give and take with every style of play.
Anthony? You guys have played a lot of tight games the first month of the season, specifically the last week or so. What do you like about how that sort of stress test will prepare you guys for what's ahead?
Well, I don't like it. We need to have more separation. We can't be in a lot of one-possession games because you're playing against like opponents in one-possession games. You're probably going to be 50. You're probably going to win them 50% of the time. That's if you look at math at all. And so we need to have a little bit more separation. We need to shoot free throws better. We need to, obviously, the turnovers are glaring, and the defensive rebounding are the two most important stats we need to fix. But we're doing a lot of things really, really well. We're offensive rebounding. Our percentage from 2 is elite. Our percentage from 3 is pretty darn good. Now we probably need to get certain guys a few more shots and whatnot, but it's not ideal, but we are learning to play in those high pressure one possession games, and we're going to be in them whether we want to be in them or not. And so it's part of this group learning to win together.
Over a month into the season, what would you say that you know about your roster, about your team that you didn't really know a month ago?
What do we know now that we didn't know a month ago? I'm not sure there's anything that I think we anticipated what we were going to be pretty well. We had a good foundation, and most of our guys on our roster were familiar with them. I think Trey and Roddy shooting the ball as well as they have give us a different weapon and allows Danny to have more space to create and help those guys get great looks. And then defensively, we've shown glimpses of being as good as anyone in the country on that side of the ball. And we think that our turnovers are a little bit deflating. We think that those runs we don't respond well enough defensively when the offense has its woes. That's when we need to tighten the screws a little bit, tighten the screws even more. But I can't say that we've learned a lot about our team other than we do respond to failure pretty well. When we lost to Wake Forest, we came back with the mindset that we were eager to fix what needed to be fixed, and it seems like after our second loss, we're in the same mindset.
Tony, you talk about how this is the longest stretch all year where you guys will practice. I mean, I guess what's the focus? What do you hope to get out of this week before you?
I think you know the answer to that. You have an extended period of time, and you have two things that are keeping you from being your absolute best. And so obviously we're trying to be creative fixing those things.
So practice really looks like, I mean, obviously doing your things, but just attacking those things. Are you working on live balls?
Relentlessly. Attacking them in film, attacking them in individual work, attacking them in team concepts, full speed ahead. Everything we have in the tank to fix these things.
Andrew?
You mentioned, your size with defensive rebound, but obviously there's not a direct correlation there, or else it would be better. Is it technique of boxing out? What is your solution? If you can share.
Like I said, there were I think 4 rebounds when it was 1-on-4 or 1-on-5, and I go up to grab it, and someone starts to grab it, and he kind of pulls his hand back, and as he pulls his hand back, he gets a pinky on it, and it squirts to the guy all by himself. So, and when you're dealing with the possessions, like you get those 4, and your defensive rebound percentage changes drastically. You factor in their misses, now you add 4 defensive rebounds versus 4 offensive rebounds. So, once again, you're never that far off. I do think we've got to be quicker to the ball. Our guards, our wings have to be quicker to the basketball. There's so many threes now. You see it in the NBA, you see it in college. There's so many threes that are carrying towards the elbows. It's more important than ever that your guards are good rebounders. Do we need to be more physical around the rim? Absolutely. We have to embrace we have to be the hammer versus the nail when the shot goes up there around the paint. But we also, on the perimeter, have to do a better job of reading the ball and getting to it quicker. We got to get to the ball quicker on both sides, to be honest. That's it.
And then Oklahoma. I mean, I know it's several days away. They have another game before you guys, but what have you seen from them on tape so far?
Extremely well-coached basketball team on both sides of the ball. You talk about getting to the ball, being aggressive to the basketball, deflecting basketball. I mean, they're tough. I mean, they're tough. They have a very good system on both sides of the ball. They play aggressive. They play with physicality. They have great self-awareness or team awareness where they play to their strengths. There's a reason. Assuming I'm not going to assume they're going to beat Oklahoma State. It's a rivalry game. But if they win Oklahoma State, they're probably going to come in 7-10 in the country and undefeated after winning the battle for Atlanta. So another great test for us. And, you know, it's why we did this schedule. You know, you look at the amount of, if we have the longevity, the mental longevity to do this season as long as it is, we put ourselves at a competitive advantage by being in all these different environments and being able to prepare long term for the elite turnover teams and the elite transition teams, and then you have the different style that TCU plays, and so we'll be familiar with anything that we're going to see during the year because we played this schedule, and you just hope you get through it where you're not mentally beat down because every possession's been so big.